welcome back to Sundays in the Garden. If you're new here, my name is Sarah, and on this channel I share everything I'm getting up to in my English cottage garden and allotment. I share weekly videos every Sunday, including garden tours, garden vlogs, jobs we can do in different months of the year, and occasionally garden tours from gardens around the rest of the UK. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I would love for you to subscribe so you can stay up to date with how the garden is progressing in 2024. If you're a regular viewer, thank you so much for being here and for all of your really lovely comments. I love reading them and responding to them and building our community together, so thank you. In today's video, I'm going to take you on a tour of the cottage garden and allotment in the month of April 2024 to see how everything is growing and progressing. So I wanted to start here just out the back of my kitchen window looking up the garden, because at the moment this is just a stunning view to stand at the sink and look out onto. All of the borders are getting really filled up now with new growth, new greenery and flowers, and then the apple blossom up here on the crabapple tree is just so beautiful. When the wind blows we get little flakes of blossom falling down, which my two little boys absolutely love, and it's just so pretty to look out onto. And that's the cherry plum blossom over there, which is a darker pink. Absolutely beautiful and so tranquil. Coming over here now to the patio area where I had all of my spring bulbs in pots, and there are also lots of pots that still need tidying up, which are empty over there. But as you can see, the daffodils are still going well. I'm deadheading them as they die back, but they're doing okay still. The tulips here are looking rather sorry for themselves. All the wet weather we've been having has completely battered them, so they're nearly done in this pot. But here they are when they were slightly more cheerful, and then when they first came out, you can see here they're very subtle pinks, and absolutely stunning. So looking forward to seeing them next year, but they are nearly done for this year. Down here are the muscari that I forgot to plant, so they have grown up into nice green growth, but I don't think we'll get any flowers, but they'll grow back next year. In here is my bulb lasagna, which had the crocuses and the daffodils and the tulips, all of which are nearly done now, but really enjoyed those this year. And then over here, you may remember that we had a clematis. It was actually in our garden when we moved in 10 years ago, but unfortunately, it just didn't survive this year. Some growth did come on it, but then it all died back. So I have replaced it with like for like, but I've popped it into this pot just in case we have any issues with it. So this is another Montana clematis. As you can see here, I picked it up at a garden centre near to us, and it is already looking really lovely. We've got some flowers on it. And actually at the point of filming this, the flower's not quite out, so I'll insert some because they have now come out. So here is how it's looking at the moment. I filmed the original garden tour on a bit of a sunnier day, so this was on a drearier day, but there you go. It's doing well so far, so we'll see how it does, and I'm hoping that that can re-establish itself. Coming over here to the blueberries now, and most of the flowers on this early fruiting blueberry are starting to die back, and we'll start to get the fruit very soon. This one still has lots of flowers. And a fair few flowers on the third variety as well. So we will see how this one does, and they will need protecting from the birds because the birds love these, so we often end up with less blueberries than the birds get. So I am going to have to cover these and protect them. Over here you can see this rose is doing really well, and I love this one. This is the one that I didn't even realise was in our garden when we first moved in, because everywhere was so overgrown. I could just see it on the fence and thought it belonged to our neighbour. But there is a bud on there, and this is how this one looks. Not a great photo of it. I'll get some better ones this year, but it's kind of a deep pink or red colour. The rainbow pots are doing okay. Some of the plants in here are starting to look a bit sorry for themselves, so I might move them out and replace them. But overall, a lovely cheerful area to look out from our dining table onto. And I'm hoping to build this area up next year with even more spring bulbs in pots, so we have a brilliant collection to look out onto. Coming back round now to the pond area, let's have a look what's going on over here. So we've got some lavender here, which is looking very woody and it's going to be replaced, but I'm growing some cuttings in my greenhouse. So I'm going to take some more cuttings from this soon and try to re-establish it. Over here we have the Geraniums, really beautiful flowers coming on here now. Really, really love them. They spread and spread and spread, these ones, so no issues with growing these geraniums. They take over, but I do love them. And down here is a peony, which hopefully will flower for us in the May garden tour video. There are some buds here already coming, so hopefully I'll be able to show you how beautiful this one is in the next month's garden tour. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, so you can follow along and see how everything progresses next month as well. Some reality over here. We have some thorny bits coming through which need cutting back. They are kind of embedded under a pathway, so it's really hard to get the roots of these out. So at the moment I end up just cutting them back, and they come back every year. But maybe I need to move the path and tackle that. Down here to the pond, we have seen so many newts in here this year. I have tried to capture some on film, which I have yet to manage because they tend to hide away when they see a shadow come over the pond. So I will try to get a video of them for you later. But there are loads of newts in here. We've also seen frogs and toads, and it's doing really well. Here is some Japanese meadowsweet, which is taking over some old lavender, which needs to be removed once I have got my cuttings grown up. And more Japanese meadowsweet over here. If you remember, I cut this back really hard in, I think it was January, and it always comes back really strong, loads of new green growth, and the flowers won't be far behind. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in a few months. We have a lot of green alkanet over here, which has taken over again. I mean, I think it was placed here deliberately by our previous owner of the house. We do have a lot of it, but it is beautiful, so I let it grow in certain areas. But it can be a pest, so you have to be careful on that one. Looking down here to this side of the border near the pond, the muscari is nearly finished, the grape hyacinth, so that's just dying back now. And we have the centura cornflowers coming through. And actually, as I said, this was filmed a little while ago in the sunshine, but we have a lot more centura cornflowers now coming out. There's another batch of them just over there as well, and they are really beautiful. I love them. Great border filler for a sunny spot. And the goldfinches love the seed heads of these, so it's great when they die back. We get lots of goldfinches eating the seeds. More muscari here dying back, and as you can see, the brick border has not yet been embedded because I've decided to leave it until the new grass that I've planted over there has established itself a bit more, because I don't want to be stamping all over it while I put the border in. So that's just waiting for a few more months. Over to the spring border now, and it needs a little bit of a tidy up over here, but there are still some daffodils flowering, and the bluebells are starting to come out now, which is lovely. But yes, this is an area which was probably at its best a few months ago, but still looking okay. Down here we have the wild garlic, which is starting to get its white flowers on now, and they're all out in full force now, about a week later than when I filmed this. But yes, lovely, and that's going to be moved to a new spot. I'm thinking probably up in the allotment area actually, but yet to be decided, so they're staying there for now. I think I mentioned last month that I was looking for some discounted hellebores, but I have had a good look around and I haven't managed to find any yet. They've all been either full price or not many available, so I would like to fill this area with some hellebores, but that's a work in progress. Coming back over here now, let's have a look at how the roses are doing this month. They're looking really healthy. Leaves are in lovely condition, lovely and glossy, and I don't think there's any buds on this one yet. But over on the Roald Dahl rose over here, which is a beautiful rose, we have got some lovely buds coming, which I'll just show you now. So here is one of them. And the leaves on this one are looking lovely as well, really healthy and glossy. And there's another few buds a bit further down the plant, one over here as well. So that's great. So not long and we will have roses. We haven't had any roses in the garden yet, so look out for that one. If you follow me on Instagram, I will post the first rose of the season on my Sundays in the Garden Instagram page when they're out. These are the yellow roses, the yellow climbing roses, buds on here as well. Leaves looking healthy and happy, so that is great. Everything's got lots of new green growth on here, and I think we're going to have an even better display of roses on this trellis than we did last year, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Down here now you can see that the loosestrife is coming back through really, really strongly. Long-term followers will remember me cutting this all back last year. There's a bluebell just snuck in there, bless it. But we'll leave it because it's quite pretty. But yes, this will all be growing up and up and up until it's nearly the same height as the top of the bench with all of its beautiful yellow flowers. Down here is some of the new grass that I put in because this was a hugely bare patch of ground that had got worn away in the wet conditions last year. We still have lots of patches like that which need filling. Some of them are starting to get some new grass in now. As you can see, I have put some seed down, but I think it's going to be a work in progress this year to try and repair this lawn, which got really badly damaged in the bad weather last year. Over on this side of the bench, we have more loosestrife and lots of bluebells coming up now, which is beautiful. Different years we get different amounts of the bluebells, but they're doing reasonably well. These are Italian bluebells, which are not the native English bluebells, but they were here when we moved in, so I let them do their thing. Ah yes, the cottage garden border. Well, I haven't really got very far with this, as you can see. And what was reasonably bare soil is now filled with green alkanet and herb robert. We've got some bluebells in there, the herb robert's down here, and lots of creeping buttercups, which do flower and do look beautiful, and the pollinators love them. But it's not my intention for this area. I would like to build this up into the cottage garden border of my dreams with lots of shade dwelling flowers. So I think what I'm going to have to do is take it section by section. Each fence panel perhaps I could use as a guide and sort of clear things, not everything, but clear a lot of the area out and fill it with the foxgloves and things, which I still have up here on the decking area, verbena and other plants. I'm not sure how the verbena will actually do in the border because they do tend to prefer sunnier spots, so we will see. Down here we have the tulips that I planted last year, and they are really coming into their own now. Actually, this was again filmed 1 week ago, and they are looking even more beautiful now than they are in this video. So I'll see if I can insert a picture of how they're looking now. So hopefully with some kinder weather and fairer winds, then we might be able to enjoy these for a good few weeks yet as they continue to come out and bloom. So lovely, so glad I planted them. Thank you to Sarah in the autumn for spending the time in the rain. It was absolutely chucking it down when I put these bulbs in, and I was a bit worried that they were going to rot in the soil, but they have come good. Look at the beautiful inside of these. They've got these beautiful colours inside as well. Absolutely stunning. Love them. These are all from Farmer Gracie. And out of the 70 or so I planted, I think, 98%, 99% have come up. They've done really well. Just above the tulips, the beautiful gold chains of the laburnum tree are just starting to appear. So in May's video, I hope to show you a beautiful waterfall of yellow flowers. Here is the little wildflower pot that my 2 boys planted up because they wanted to scatter some wildflower seeds in a pot and see what comes up. Doing really well. And moving into the greenhouse now, let's see what's going on in here this month. So down here we have the aubergine plants, 3 of them looking reasonably strong at the moment. So fingers crossed for some aubergines. They're going to go in here in this ground in a few months' time. Over here I've got my sprouts, which really need to go out into the allotment area now because they are looking like they are getting tired of their pots. Back there we have some aquilegia growing up, which I can then start to prick out soon. Here are 3 courgettes. 1 hasn't germinated, but 3 courgettes. Here are the sweet peas my little boys planted. Behind here, some foxgloves that need pricking out. As you can see, they're getting their true leaves now down there. So I need to prick some of these out, but they're a bit spindly on the roots. So I'm going to have to be really careful and see how many I can save of these. Cosmos looking great, but as you can see here, I've got some flower heads appearing, so would love your advice as to whether I need to pinch these out, remove the flower heads and encourage some more leaf growth, or whether I should leave it. Runner beans, all of them have germinated. I've got 8 there, plus an extra one at the back here, which my little boy grew at a class he was attending. More sweet peas my other little boy planted, and some moneymaker tomatoes here, which will be planted in the greenhouse with the aubergines. And looking over here now, you can see my first early potatoes doing absolutely brilliantly. I need to double check when I planted them so I can work out how much longer I need to leave them in before harvesting, but they are doing really well. I've earthed them up and now we're just waiting to harvest them, which is really exciting. So I'll share that with you when we do that. Under here, my poor cornflowers that I've planted have been fairly well munched by slugs, which are obviously in here. I need to keep an eye out for them because they sneak in, but I will plant some more as well. The dahlias, we have Cafe au lait appearing, and really excitingly, all 3 that I overwintered in the garage have new shoots. So there was the one at the back here, I didn't think was going to grow because it was looking rather sorry for itself with no signs of life, but we put it in and lo and behold, we have growth. So that's great. In here is the asparagus I planted, waiting to see if that appears. The cuttings I've taken from my lavender so far, more to come. And the sweet peas, which I'm going to move outside and to put on the patio. Over there, the carrots need thinning out again, but they're doing well. And my lettuce bowl over there is also doing really well. So everything in here is looking brilliant and I'm really, really pleased. And all of the pots and things over this side of the greenhouse are movable, so I can move the potatoes out in their grow bags and all of these pots to make way for the aubergines and tomatoes in a few weeks' time. I also just forgot to show you down here, we have lots of baby verbena plants which are growing really, really well. And again, these need pricking out and potting into their own pots fairly soon because they have lots of beautiful true leaves. So really happy with how everything is looking in here. And now let's go up to the allotment area and see what's happening up here in the month of April. So on the left-hand side here, you can see the New Dawn David Austin rose, which I planted about this time last year. And it was a bare root rose at the time and it's doing brilliantly. It's really establishing itself, not quite ready to train across, but very much almost there. And these are pale pink flowers, which will be with us in hopefully next month or the month after. The rhubarb's looking great. The one I forced in the middle there is greening up now and catching up with the rest. And there is even some to harvest. So some nice rhubarb crumble and custard coming our way, hopefully in the next day or two. And over here, my herb garden is still providing us with beautiful herbs in our cooking. And it's really rather happy, so that's great. And the plan is to move the rhubarb over to that section behind the pots for next season. We also have some comfrey growing over here. Along this section, and there's some more further along, and comfrey I know can be used in herbal remedies, but I don't know too much about that, so anyone who has any info on how I can use comfrey then would love to hear from you. Up here are some more, this is my favourite rose in the whole garden. I think it's really putting on loads more growth now, and it's a frothy pink rose, absolutely abundant with roses when they come out, and I absolutely love it. So stay tuned to Instagram and my videos on here to see that when it's in full force in a month or two. Panning around over here, you can see the bed I cleared behind the strawberries, which I haven't yet decided what's going into, and a single lone raspberry cane, which I've had for ages and it hasn't really found a home yet, bless it, so it's still there. And if you look down here, we have some beautiful forget-me-nots. I haven't got the heart to clear any of these because they're just so beautiful. I'd actually like some more back down by the pond. So I've got some seeds I'm going to plant ready for next year with forget-me-nots. Okay, coming back up here, you can see that that's the bed I'm going to put my brassicas in, I think. Over here we have the garlic, and also under here are the carrots and the parsnips that I sowed. And we'll have a look under there in a minute and see how they're doing. And see if we have any germination. I think the garlic is doing well still, so that's great. I need to again check when I planted that and work out how long it needs to stay in for. Broad beans over here, planted in November, doing really well. We're getting the flowers on here now, and I think I need to start pinching out the tops of them to avoid any black fly causing any damage to these. So tops to be pinched out very soon, but really pleased to see those flowers. Still loving my arch, can't wait for the beans to be growing over them. On the left of the arch, I'm going to plant some pumpkins, and on the right of the arch, I think I'm going to plant the courgettes, but they haven't been in that bed before, so I just need to kind of see how they work in that section. Here we have the onions establishing themselves well now, and the leeks that have been in this bed for absolutely ages are still there. One looking huge, and I'm going to harvest it, and the rest, we'll see how they do. It's not great soil here in this particular bed, and it needs some new compost in here once these guys come out at the end of this season. But we're giving them a chance, and we'll see how they all do, because I've had a lovely leek from this bed already. So even if they're small, they're still very, very delicious. So finally, let's take a peek under this fleece and see if we have any germination of the carrots and the parsnips. And yes, we do. Look under there. You can see them. This is why we plant in rows, so we know that they are the things we planted and not weeds. But I can see some lovely rows of, these are the carrots. So this is the parsnips this end. Can't see any parsnips yet. Maybe they need a bit longer. We'll see how they do. But that is so exciting. Hooray! We have carrots. And that concludes my garden tour for April, and I cannot wait to share my favourite month in the garden with you next month. Bring on May. Thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video today, please like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next week with my gardening jobs for May. Have a great week. Bye.